Hey, what's up, beautiful coach? Joel here. So if you are newer to the coaching world, then this video is for you because I'm going to walk through the exact steps to start and launch an online coaching business from scratch. And I'm going to talk through exact scripts, templates, so you can literally plug and play this directly into your business. So grab a pen and paper and get ready and make sure you stick around to the end. And if you're new here, my name's Joel. I'm a business coach to heart-led coaches. And this knowledge and experience comes from growing 2 coaching offers to 30K months in less than a year from a standing start. And one of those coaching offers was coaching, dare I say it, real people in the real world and traditionally stubborn men who are very skeptical to coaching. So I know what it takes to grow and launch a coaching business in the real world. And this hasn't just worked for me. It's worked for 15 very recent clients who have got to their first 10K month in just a matter of months by implementing these 4 steps into their business. So make sure you stick around because there's going to be some real gold in here. Now, before we dive into the 4 steps, I want to talk about the biggest mistakes I see newer coaches make in starting and launching and growing their coaching business. Now, the first is overthinking. It's a bit of a paradox with coaches because most coaches are very self-aware. They're very reflective. But in that, they can get really stuck in their head and take no action or take the wrong action, which is the second biggest mistake. I see a lot of newer coaches being really busy, ineffective. They spend hours fiddling with their website, fiddling with their social media feed, fiddling with their profile and their bio and their names and their logos and their colors, all stuff that makes them feel good, but never actually moves their business forward. And what I call this stuff is fear in fancy dress, because that is exactly what it is. It's fear and resistance keeping you small. And I'm about to walk you through the exact steps that you can implement straight away. There's no fluff, no busy, ineffective work, just really direct actions that are going to create clients in your business. And the third biggest mistake is not asking for help. Most newer coaches have never had the experience of building a coaching business. So I often ask them, hey, so what's your strategy? And they don't have one. And I don't blame them either. They've never built a coaching business before. So why should they know? Business and growth is actually very simple. Go and find out who has got what you want, who's created what you want, and go model them. Go read their books, watch their content, invest in them. And it's what I do every single year. And I account most of my success to my coaches and mentors. So let's get stuck into the 4 steps in launching your online coaching business from scratch. Number 1, research. Now, this word may either fill you with dread or it might actually excite you. If it excites you, no, we're not going to be spending months doing this. And no, it doesn't mean you're not going to be speaking to your clients and your audience. We are going to be getting out there. And if this fills you with dread, I will invite you just to slow things down. I run market research every 3 to 4 months without fail because business is actually very, very simple. There are some golden rules. The first golden rule is our audience will tell you what they want. Most business problems can be solved by talking to your audience. Ultimately, entrepreneurship is about solving problems for a profit. So the very first thing you need to do is unpack your life and experience and really understand what problems you can help people with and what problems you enjoy helping people with. So spend some time unpacking your life, unpacking your stories, your triumphs, your challenges, the things that come easy to you, the things that people ask you advice for, because often when newly coaches qualify, they get amnesia. I certainly did. It was like as soon as I qualified, I forgot my whole previous life. And it took a session with my coach at the time to reflect back that I just built a 7-figure food tech business and I was managing teams and I sold to big hedge funds. But because that business was wiped out by COVID and literally 4 or 5 years of my life, I saw it as a failure and I didn't see all the learnings wrapped up in that. And it was like I was brand new at life and that really impacted my confidence. But that session really allowed me to remember my experience and who I was and the things that came easy to me. Things like my transformation in my consistency and discipline. Because I was once massively overweight, really inconsistent, really ill-disciplined, and I really lacked a lot of self-esteem and confidence. Now, having gone through a lot of transformation and work, I was at that point incredibly confident, incredibly consistent, very disciplined. And it took my coach to help me remember that. So you are likely sitting on the same. And this is called the curse of knowledge, where the things that are easy to us, we assume are easy to others, and therefore assume others don't want help with those things. So for me, back then, I didn't realize other people struggled with their morning routine. And I forgot about the transformation I went through with my morning routine. And And it took listening to my audience and speaking to my audience and hearing that that was the thing that they were most inspired about with me. So I launched a program called the 5 a.m. Club, and I got 250 clients for that one program that led them into my bigger program called 63 Days to Personal Power. And I would never have seen that had I not remembered who I was and remembered the challenges and the stories and the things that I've triumphed over. So in your story is your power, and you are sitting on a gold mine. So this is the very first step, is unpacking your story and your experience. Now, the second part of this is knowing what our audience wants and will pay for. Gary Halbert, the copywriting legend, tells a great story which really summarizes this. He says, if you and I both owned a hamburger stand and we were in a contest to see who would sell the most hamburgers, what advantages would you most like to have on your side? So the answers, he said, vary. Some people said they would like to have the advantage of superior meat. Others say they wanted the best sesame buns. Others said location. And some usually wanted to be able to offer the best or lowest prices, and so on. Anyway, after his students finished telling what advantage they wanted, he said, you can have all of those, because there's only one thing I want, and I will whip the pants off all of you when it comes to selling burgers. And they asked, what advantage do you want? And he said, the only advantage I want is a starving crowd. And this is really all that matters in business, is about finding what problems people have and what they are desperately trying to solve actively themselves, and what they are willing to pay others to solve for them. That is the core of business. So our goal here is to find that alignment between what problems we can solve, what we enjoy solving, what problems people want solving, and what problems people will pay to have solved. When you have that alignment, that is when you are sitting on absolute goldmine. Now, I've seen one of the best ways to find out where this alignment is to offer a value exchange, where in return of something that you offer your audience, you get to interview them and ask them questions. And if you want the exact script to use in that interview, along with the posts that I use to generate these conversations, then go ahead and join my free community. The link is in the description. And in there, you'll find the Becoming Magnetic mini course, which unpacks, as I say, the script, the interview, and the post to use. But ultimately, you're going to offer something of high value that your audience wants in return for their knowledge. And if you struggle to give away this freebie, the thing that you're leading with, then that is a really good sign that what you have isn't actually of value, or you don't have access to your audience, which means kind of going back to the drawing board and starting the process again. But you've just saved yourself months, maybe even years of heartache and struggle, because I see far too many coaches trying to solve problems that aren't urgent, aren't real, and their audience aren't willing to pay to have solved. But let's say you've interviewed 10 of your ideal clients and you've run through the exact script laid out in the free community. Now the second stage is build, because now we have a problem that we've solved for ourselves and we know we can help others with, something that we're really passionate about, a problem that others want to be solved and will pay for. Now we have that alignment. It's time to create our offer. Now, from your interviews, you are going to have a ton of data, and your goal now is to find the most pressing and urgent. So much like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, your clients have a hierarchy of needs. And this is something I learned from Dan Bolton, who says that, first of all, our clients have needs that they need solving now. These are now, and you might call these needs. After that, they have wants that they want solved later. So this is a later. And then finally, they have dreams that they want solved one day. So we want our offer to be focused on this now, the hair on fire problem that your audience has, and not on the one day. Because if we focus up here, we become a nice to have. And this is where most coaches exist. They're a nice to have. But you want to position yourself in your clients' lives as an absolute must-have. And the way to do that is solve the most pressing and urgent needs in your clients' lives. One way to think about this is that this is a painkiller, this is a vitamin, and this is, say, biohacking. So let's say you have a steaming headache and it's raining outside and the shops are 5-10 minutes away. You don't have any paracetamol or any painkillers in the house. You would likely walk in the rain to pick some up, but you wouldn't do that to go and pick up vitamins. And you most likely wouldn't do that to go and do an ice bath, unless you are a complete nutter, and in which case you're actually my kind of person. My point is, this is where the starving crowd exists. So placing a hamburger outside a football stadium where you've got tens of thousands of drunk, starving football fans, that would be where the starving crowd is. So now you've got clear on what the biggest, most hair on fire problem is in your ideal clients' lives. We want to create an ideal outcome, a dream outcome. And this is such a big part of the offer. The goal here is for it to be clear and tangible and simple sells here. For example, I've seen offers of quitting porn in 30 days. Compared that to find your true north and connect to your soul's purpose. Like, very nice, very nice. But this offer solves a real problem in a lot of people's lives, and it's very tangible and clear. Whereas this offer feels a little bit intangible, a little bit fluffy, and there's no urgency there. So things like finding a new job or finding a new partner or having better sex, or managing your team more effectively, or being more productive and carving out 4 hours extra per day, or losing a certain amount of weight. Now, I know sometimes there's a lot of resistance to this clear, tangible outcome, but our audience don't lie. As I said before, one of the golden rules in marketing is that your audience will tell you what they want. So the goal here is to take exactly what your client said to you in those client interviews and find the biggest problem and repeat it back at them. Don't try and overcomplicate things. The key here, sell them what they want and give them what they need. They might need to find their true north and their soul's purpose, but is that the language they use right now in this moment? If it is, great. I just made an assumption that perhaps that's not how a lot of people speak. So now you have the dream outcome. It's time to build your offer. And this is something I cover in this video up here. So let's assume you've watched that, you've created your offer. It's time for step 3, which is testing. Now, before I share how, I want you to really adopt a scientist mindset. Far too many coaches take things way too personally in their business. But if your offer fails and no one wants it, it doesn't mean anything about you. It just means what you've created, your audience doesn't want. Great, that's a bit of data. Move on to the next thing. Trust me, I've launched offers in the past that have failed. So the goal here is to test, to adopt that scientist mindset, get it out there and test. So the first goal here is to sell in private. So you have at least 10 people that you've spoken to about their real problems in their life. So we go back to them, we pick up the phone and we say, hey, you know that problem you told me you had? Yeah? Well, I've created a program and an offer that solves it in 3 months, and I'm running it as a beta and looking for some case study clients. Because it's in beta, I'm offering it at 50% discount. All I ask for is your testimonial and your feedback. And because this is a case study, I'll work really close to you to make sure you get results and solve these problems. Would you be open to jumping on a call and seeing if it's the right fit for you? Now, if you ran the interview exactly how I map out in the free community, you will know what your audience's real and urgent problems are. If your offer solves that, you will likely get 2, 3, 4 clients. If you get no signups from speaking to those original 10 interviews, then it is a bit of a cause for concern. And it could either be that your offer doesn't actually solve a real problem and they were saying these problems, but they weren't actually real. So I would run the interviews again and go deeper, or they don't have the money and you're targeting an audience that don't have the money or aren't willing to pay to solve their problems. So I would go back and start the process again. Or I might speak to those 10 and just ask them, out of curiosity, what would it take for you and I to work together to solve the problems that you shared in our conversation? And that will really determine a lot for you. But if you've run this process exactly how I say, you'll likely have got 3 to 4 clients from now. So step 4 is now about ringing it out. So you have an offer that your audience wants. You've proven that with 3 to 4 clients. And now's time to over deliver. Get amazing testimonials, amazing case studies that you can now leverage and use in what I call my client creation engine, which I outlined in this video up here. And if this video has been useful, go ahead, like and comment with your biggest insight, and please subscribe because this is a brand new channel and it really helps me out and my mission to spread coaching as far and wide as possible, because I truly believe that coaching can change the world, but most coaches are great at coaching but terrible at business. I happen to be great at both, and that's kind of my gift to this world. And if you want to join my free community for heart-led coaches, go ahead and click the link in the description. In there, I have a complete mini course on becoming magnetic, which I know other coaches would charge absolute thousands for. I also turn up every single month and run a free coaching session, and there's a whole other host of amazing content and freebies in there. So I hope to see you in there. If not, there's loads of free content around this page, and I will see you there. Sending you lots of love and all the best with launching and starting your business. Speak to you soon.